I gave you a bunch of pages for homework, and hopefully you had a chance to do them all, because this is our last day working on chapter 5. I'm going to be introducing our new presentation today, and then I can't find my other view here. 1 second. Here it is. I'm going to be introducing our presentation today, and we're going to be wrapping up chapter 5, and then Wednesday we're going to start chapter 7. So we've got to finish all this stuff up today. So if you look at page 58, that was actually an assignment that was due on Wednesday, but not everybody finished it, and so I gave you over the weekend to finish it, and hopefully you still had a chance to do that. This was all the lecture language. So if you remember, hang on, I'm trying to open something. If you remember, the lecture language we were talking about was examples. So for each of the different food groups, they gave an example of the types of foods in that group. This is page 58. And so the first part, you were just supposed to listen to the short example in order to, I'm trying to make this a full screen and I don't see the little thing that I usually use for that. I have to make this a little smaller to be able to see it all. You were supposed to match the colors with the type of food that she talked about that went with that color. And we talked about the fact that these different colors, they call it a band, but it's like a stripe. These different color stripes go with different layers like this. So this bottom one is orange and green and blue on that image, but in the lecture they talked about the orange, green, red, and yellow bands. And then they gave us an examples of grains, examples of vegetables, examples of fruits, examples of milk or oils and fats and milk and meat and beans. And we talked about that the reason they put meat and beans together, even though they don't seem like the same kind of food, is because they're proteins. So one of the categories is actually foods that we get protein from. So that would also like include eggs and other things like that. So I'm going to just share my screen if you had a chance to do this, because I have the answers here. So for exercise K, it's CABD.
CABD, yep.
So this row right here is the matching, if you can see that. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. It's not showing that, it's not showing me that little box of sharing screen, so I wasn't sure it was sharing. So that means the orange band is for grains, the green band is for vegetables, the red band is for fruit, and the yellow band is for fats and oils. Then they go on to the examples, and I specifically had asked you, when they talk about grains, you probably know some examples of grains, but I asked you to you listen to the lecture and use the ones they give you in the lecture. So the lecture language here is like, and then the examples they give are bread, cereal, rice, and pasta. So if you think about the grains, like the bread and the cereal are made usually from wheat. That's a grain. Rice is a grain. Pasta can be made from wheat or rice. We also have grains like oats. So a lot of cereal is made with oats. Vegetables, these are some of the examples. And if you don't have every single example, that's okay. Even if you just have 2 or 3 examples, hopefully it's enough to make it clear to you what category is vegetables through those few examples. And then this is the lecture language, typical examples. Fruit, it says, let's look at some examples, and here's some examples of fruit. Now, I think in your notes, you could probably be okay just writing down a couple fruits, but also it'd be good to include in the notes that that includes juice. So the nutrition from the fruit is still in the juice if you have apple juice or orange juice or grape juice. Here again is a couple of examples of fats, butter and chicken fat. There's also fat in things like avocado and olive oil. Those kinds of things have fats in them that are more natural kind of fats. Milk, here's the word like again as your signal. Cheese, milk, yogurt, and ice cream are milk products. And then meat and beans. So they have like in here 3 times, number 1, 5, and 6. The signal is always the word like, which I would like to see them having a few more examples than just example and like. If you remember in our textbook, we talked about words like for instance, right? Or to illustrate. They didn't use any of those examples in here, which I was kind of disappointed about because you need to practice all the examples, not just, if you remember in the book, all these side we're talking about example, these are the ones that have the other words. And they only use like here. I would have appreciated it if they used a more variety so you have a little bit more practice, but that's the way it is. And those were the answers. Are there any questions on that page?
Nope.
No.
So again, as you might expect, those are the signal words you're going to need to know for the next test. We'll also have note-taking skills for signal words in chapter 7. We're skipping over chapter 6. So our next test is going to be chapters 5 and 7. And like I said, it's not for a couple weeks because we have to finish chapter 7 next week. I'll go through the dates again if you want at the end. The other thing you were supposed to look at was the lecture notes here. I was thinking, I haven't done this yet because I just got the idea this morning, but I was thinking of watching the lecture and taking some notes of my own and then just posting those so you could kind of see an example of how I would do my notes for this. But they talk about the 2 purposes of food, which are nutrition and enjoyment. The people don't always take the USDA advice, and she talks about why. And then they compare the French approach to food and the American approach to food as examples of the French are an example of people who look at food as something for pleasure, and Americans look at food for nutrition. Or did I say that backwards? Let me think here. I have to look at my next page, 1 second. I haven't listened to this since a while. Yeah, French choices are influenced by pleasure, and American choices are influenced by nutrition. So we aren't as worried about the foods we eat and the amount of food we eat. which is what her lecture is about. I think I'm gonna just kind of post these questions also with the answers so you can check yours. Are there any questions about this? This is page 61 now. If you have some questions about the lecture, that would be good, but I'm not sure everybody finished doing this yet, so I want to just post the answers on D2L, and then when you finish, you can go check your own. We're going to do some other discussion today, so we don't really need to discuss about these. But does anyone have any questions about it? Did you all get to watch the lecture? Should we do a yes/no vote here? If you had a chance to watch the lecture, click on your yes. If you didn't have a chance to watch it yet, click on your no. Just so I have kind of an idea of how many people have seen it.
Yes, I see it.
No worries, I'm not taking points or anything. I just, partly because our presentation that I told you I want to introduce today is going to be about this lecture. So it'd be helpful to me how many people had a chance to watch it. I also want to have an idea if anybody had trouble getting the video to work. Okay, I only have 4 votes. 5 votes. A couple people are voting in the chat box, that's fine. So I have 3 in the chat box and 3 on the screen, but I have 13 students. So I only have half the votes. Can the rest of you vote yes or no if you had a chance to watch the lecture yet?
I'm not sure how can I vote on the
If you click on the participants, do you have a place on the bottom of your screen that says participants?
Yes.
participate.
If you click on that, it brings up a box with everybody's name, and at the bottom of that box, it has a green circle that says yes and a red circle that says no. Do you have that one on yours, James?
I didn't see that one.
Okay, I can share my screen and show you. We did this at the very beginning last week, but it's hard to remember it if you're not using it in between. Oh, I keep forgetting when I'm doing this, I can't show you what I'm seeing.
You
Oh,
can
there's
go
my-
to the chat and then say yes.
Hang on.
Where is it?
You can go to the chat and then say yes if you
Yeah,
want.
you can do that. Do you have this? Mine says manage participants because I'm the host, but you should have something that says participants and then it opens this up.
And there's yes.
And then at the bottom it says yes or no here.
I see only your pictures, your family pictures. So.
Oh, it won't show the participant screen when I open it?
No, we only see
It
your
would show whatever's on my screen. Okay, hang on, I know how to fix it, I think.
yeah.
I think I know how to fix it. I shouldn't talk quite so quick.
I can see whatever you're showing me, like hand raise your hand and yes or no, everything.
Okay, can you see this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Enter one.
so this is when you click on participants, you get a window with all the names. And then down here at the bottom, there's a box that says yes and a box that says no. And see how these people have already voted? It comes
Oh,
up
I
next
got
to your
it.
name.
No.
Did you find
So,
it?
yes.
So I don't want to take a lot of time for this, but it is important to me to make sure everybody knows how to do this. So please still, if you didn't put it in the chat, which 5 of you are in the chat now, I think. No, 3 of you are in the chat now. So if you already put it in the chat, you don't need to, but if you did not put something in the chat, please click on the yes or no so I know that it works. And we're answering the question, did you watch the chapter 5 video yet?
Yes.
Because if you didn't watch it, it changes a little bit of what we talk about today.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, Abdi, you answered, Abdi, but yours isn't checked anymore. Did you check it and uncheck it?
Oh, Oh, let me see. Did you get now?
Yes.
All right.
Joe, I know yours works. Lee, are you having trouble finding yours?
No.
Do you know how to find the box for the participants? Lee Chang, did you find yours? Tom Marie, did you find, oh, Tom Marie's in the chat box, so that's fine. Oseas, you just got on. We're voting. Everybody's putting in yes or no if they had a chance to watch the chapter 5 lecture yet. Because what we're doing today is based on that lecture, and it looks like only about half the people watched it. But Oseas, if you had a chance to watch it or not watch it, please put in a yes or no on your click. If you don't know how to do that, you need to click on participants, and it opens up the window with all the student names. And then at the bottom, it has a green circle that says yes and a red circle that says no. Well, the rest of you, it looks like you're still figuring it out. Marie and Lee both wrote in the chat box, so that's fine. Lee Chang, I don't know if you saw yours or not. But it looks like only about half the students watched it. According with the chat box people, I think we have about 6 people who watched it and about 6 or 7 who didn't, which is a little bit unfortunate because we're doing our discussion today based on that lecture. So you might have to just kind of fake it because you won't know what's going on. So that answers a little bit about why there's no questions about the worksheet pages in the book. This is page 61. So if you haven't watched the lecture, obviously you didn't answer these questions yet. So maybe we'll spend a little time on Wednesday looking at this, but I wanted you to do it over the weekend. I am still going to do our discussion groups. I know we did discussion groups last Wednesday, and I did not take an image of the groups I made, which I wish I had. As soon as I sent you to your meeting rooms, the list goes away off my screen, and I knew right away I should have taken a image of it because I wanted to try and remember who I put together. And some of you I will remember and some of you I won't. So if you remember, you can tell me, but we're going to look at page 62. We talked about this last Wednesday, all these phrases for agreeing and disagreeing. And I want you to practice using some of those as you discuss page 63. So some of these you're going to have to just use your own life experience based on what you know about U.S. foods. So I crossed off American in my book and switched it to U.S. because I don't like that they use American all the time. We're U.S. American. There's all kinds of other Americans, but when they say American, they're talking about U.S. people, and I don't like that. We're going to be on page 63. There's 2 questions here on part B. What is your opinion about eating breakfast or not eating breakfast? And of course, that was not about the lecture. You can just talk about your own opinion. And what is your opinion about U.S. food, healthy or unhealthy, and why? And then we're going to look at these 3 questions, which if you didn't listen to the lecture, it might be a little harder, but I think you can still understand them. Do you think it is more important to consider nutritional needs or pleasure when choosing foods? Because that was what she compared in the lecture. Where do you get information about the healthy quality of the food? So how do you know if the food you're buying and eating is healthy, or like at a restaurant, for example? And then the third question says that the professor talking about how we feel about eating is just as important about what we eat. So in other words, how we feel about eating is our attitude about food, is as important as what we actually choose to eat for our health. And do you agree or disagree? Okay, so there's 5 questions here. It'll take a bit of time. We're gonna try and do discussion groups for about 15 minutes or so. Tom Marie, you and Nino are still together, right? So if I put you in a group, I'll count you as 2 people, but you still need to, go ahead. Okay, so I'll put you in a group, but you'll still count as 2 people for that group, which is fine. I'm just gonna try and have 3 or 4 people in a group. So your computer will count as 2 people. And I'm gonna try and do it again, similar to the way I did last time. Let's see, we've got 14 people, so we're gonna need 4 rooms, I think. See if I can do it like this. So I know the first room I made last time was Johanna, Celia, and that. And I know
I forgot how to get my group.
it'll automatically send you to the group, James, when I
remember my friends.
yeah, when I click on it, you'll automatically be in that group.
Okay.
You don't have to do anything except when I open the rooms, you'll get a little box that says join your breakout room, and you'll have to click on join. Oh, let's see here. How did I do this? Okay, all the groups have 4, except one group is 3.
Oh, go with 4.
Yep. And when I open the rooms, you should only see the people in your group, and you should turn on your microphones for sure, so you can have a conversation. If you want to turn on your video, that's even better. You don't have to turn on video, but if you want to, you should. And then go through the 5 questions, and then when you're finished, there's a way that you can leave the breakout room. But if you don't know how to come back when the time is up, I can pull everybody back automatically by closing the breakout rooms.
And can you repeat, please, what we should do for this?
Yes, sure. Page 63.
Okay.
So there's 2 questions in part B and 3 questions in part C. So talk about these 5, and everybody needs to talk about all of them. So, you know, when you start talking about breakfast or no breakfast, everybody should give their opinion and their reason why. So they give you possible reasons. You can agree with one of these reasons, or you can give your own reason that you know out of your own ideas.
Okay.
And then of course, this one's about the US, and then these 3 are about the lecture. But even if you didn't listen to the lecture yet, you should be able to give an opinion about some of those things, because they're common, what we call common knowledge things, meaning people know about food and nutrition a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna open the rooms, and you're gonna all move. It'll take maybe 10 or 20 seconds, but you'll all move together.
So shall I press join breakout room?
Yes. Then you'll be with your group. And you're going to be with Lee, Boris, and Abdi.
Oh, Miss Martha, I don't know what's going on. I just go back to use to turn on the microphone and leave the room. I can't go back. If you can help me, please. I'm in room number
I will move you back.
3.
again.
Oh, thank you.
You're supposed to be in room 3.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
you bet. So we're voting for page 63. Yes, you think breakfast is necessary. It looks like Caesar's gone now. He was in a breakout room. I don't know if he had trouble getting back.
He was in our group,
Yeah,
Cesar and Adam.
yeah. And when I closed the breakout room, he didn't come back here. That's okay. It's being recorded, so you can see it later. Adam, do you know how to vote? Your microphone's off, so you can't talk to me, but he also might have stepped away from his computer, which is fine. So for this one, everybody voted yes, breakfast is necessary. James wants to get 50-50 vote, and I want you to unmute your microphone and explain to me what that means. What's 50-50?
Oh, no, no, I mean, question number 2. All of our groups that agree with 50-50. The American foods are some.
Oh, we haven't gone to number 2 yet. We're going to do that in a minute. We're
Okay,
just looking at number 1 right now. So you voted yes, breakfast is important.
yes.
Okay. I have a son who never ever eats breakfast, and when he gets up in the morning, if he tries to eat, it makes him sick.
Oh,
Oh,
He always says his stomach isn't ready for food in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy for him, but it's kind of the way his habit is, so that's what his body is used to. So yeah, if we ever go out to eat with him in the morning for breakfast time, which almost never happens, he just gets something to drink. So yeah, I'm going to clear everybody's votes. So now you'll notice all the circles went away. So now we're going to look at number 2. Is U.S. food healthy or unhealthy? So I agree with you, James. It's kind of a mixed, but
Yeah.
I am still curious what people's votes are. Let me see what other options we have.
no. Yeah, option
Yeah, if I put yes and then no, it switches. I thought maybe we could, maybe you could have the choice of putting a yes and no both together, but it doesn't work like that. You could put, can you put a yes and,
I do, yes.
so let's just talk about this one. You can vote if you want to, but I understand that some of you are gonna, have a mixed answer, and we can talk about that just a little bit. I know you talked about it in your groups, but I'm just curious, in general, if your group would say healthy or unhealthy, because it depends, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the US, we have very extreme. We have healthy people who only eat vegetarian. They don't eat high calories. They don't eat fried foods.
Oh, makes mommy done.
For whatever reason, sometimes for their health, sometimes just because they're very healthy, but sometimes for their, like my daughter my daughter has a very, very strict diet because she has digestive problems. So she has no dairy, no grains or breads or carbs. So she eats all fresh homemade, like she has to make all her sauces, all her, even like her own salad dressing and all that kind of stuff she has to make herself, because if you ever look at the nutrition in food at the restaurant or at the grocery store, you should look like ketchup and salad dressing and all those things. Even though you're eating a healthy salad, there's a lot of sugar in those things. So anyway, it's kind of a mixed bag in the US. You can eat junk food all the time and fast food all the time, or you can eat healthy food all the time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the mixture that we deal with here. The last 20 minutes or so that we have to do class, I want to focus on our next presentation. So we've been talking a little bit about nutrition. We've talked about the food pyramid and what kinds of nutrition that we have with proteins and vegetables and fruits, and dairy products, of course, have calcium and protein in them. And then also the fats and oils, which are kind of, and sugar, actually sugar and fats and oils are all the unhealthy things. And if you notice at the top of the food chart, I'll show you the page again. There's a reason that this drawing is shaped like a pyramid. And the reason is that you're supposed to eat the most of these foods and the least of these foods. The smallest piece is the point of the triangle, right? And so this is an ice cream cone and a cupcake. So that's sweets. And this is fats and oils and proteins. You need the least of these. You need the most of fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, and you need the most of different grains like rice and breads and pastas. So that's why it's shaped like a triangle, because which one you're supposed to have more of and which one you're supposed to have less of. And so what we're going to do for our presentation is you're going to present to the class about a food. And I don't want you to pick a food like lamb or lettuce or oranges. I want you to pick a food that has many different foods in it. So like some kind of a dish that has maybe meats and potatoes and vegetables and sauce or something like that with it. And then you're gonna explain to the class about the nutrition. And I want you to explain whether it's a healthy food or not a healthy food based on the nutrition, based on what we're learning about the food pyramid. Now you can use the food pyramid from your country if you have one in your country and you're familiar with it, or you can use the US one. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you to be able to evaluate the food that you're sharing with the class and tell us if it's healthy. Okay.
So we have to choose some food and we have to tell the class what is the nutrition of this food.
Yep. And I'm going to share my screen and show you a video that's a student presentation that's kind of like an example.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and talk about the your presentation that you're going to do, because I think once you see the example, it'll help you figure out a little bit more about what it's supposed to be like. So you can all see my folder with all my documents, right? So you can see this video now. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I think it's still loading because the play button, there it is. So this is a woman from Europe. She's talking about a dish called goulash, and just listen to what she says about it.
In my opinion, goulash is very healthy. In my country, the dietary guidelines tell us not to eat too much meat. Actually, goulash is because the best kind of meat for goulash is stew meat, and stew meat is low.
Can you raise the volume button a little bit?
Yeah, because it's really low, the volume, and I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, I'll start again and I will raise my volume. I haven't tried playing a video like this before, so you can also turn up the volume on your own computer. That might also help. She's talking about goulash, and you can kind of see these are potatoes, vegetables, meat, onions, and she's going to tell us what's in it. But we're going to start again, so hopefully you can hear it this time.
Oh, I want to have that one.
I know whenever we do these presentations, all the students are like, I'm so hungry. I am also going to mute everybody. Because then there won't be any other mute noise from anybody else's computer except mine. Okay, we'll try that too and see if that helps. Okay, here we go.
In my opinion, goulash is very healthy. In my country, the dietary guidelines tell us not to eat too much meat because of the fat in meat. Actually, goulash is low in fat. It's low in fat because the best kind of meat for goulash is stew meat, and stew meat is low in fat. Also, the spice paprika has a lot of vitamin A. As we've seen today, goulash, a soup or stew meat, vegetables, and sometimes noodles is a delicious and simple dish. Goulash is really popular and common dish in my country. As I said, goulash has a lot of nutrition. It's healthy because of the protein in the meat and the vitamins in the vegetables and the paprika. Doesn't goulash sound good? I hope you try it. Thank you for listening.
Okay. So that's kind of the idea. You're going to pick a food, and I'm going to put conversation in the discussion page. If you remember on D2L, we have this discussion page. I can show you quickly. I forgot. I stopped sharing, so I have to.
Food means like food item, any kind of dishes.
Yes. So under communications, we have a discussion page, and I'm going to put in a topic that says, what food are you presenting on? And then when you choose a food, you can put the name in there so that you know nobody else is doing your food. And I really want it to be a kind of food that has many things in it. So you noticed in the goulash, there was meat and vegetables. She said sometimes people make it with pasta in it. And then paprika is a seasoning that you put on, but it has vitamins, a lot of vitamins in it. So I'm going to put a discussion post in here where you can sign up for what food you want. I want you to choose a food that has many different ingredients, not just one or two ingredients. I don't want you to pick something that's like just like a certain kind of meat or a certain kind of vegetable. So all the ingredients, oh, where did it go? I thought I already opened this. Well, I can open it again. All the ingredients and the description of the food will go on this worksheet. So you're going to put the name of your food, you're going to put the description of the food, and I do not want you to tell me about preparing the food. You'll notice in her presentation, she did not say anything about how you make goulash. She just told us what was in it. So she said you use stew meat, and I'll just put that up here so you see. Stew is pronounced like this. If you've ever had stew, it's kind of like a kind of soup, but it's really thick. And there's special in US, and she's European. What they use in stew is beef, so cow's meat, and it's a special cut of meat that's already cut into squares, and all the fat is trimmed off. That's why she said there's not much fat So that's what she was saying. You use stew meat, vegetables, usually like carrots or celery or tomatoes, potatoes or pasta for the grains, and then the seasoning. So she just, she's just describing what's in the food. Then the other thing, did you notice what she said about when people eat this food? Did she say it was a common food or a special food? Oh, I muted everybody. So if you're trying to answer me, you can't answer me. Hang on. Did she say this was a common food or a special food? Does
Special
anybody
food.
remember?
I think common.
Yeah, she said it's common. People eat it a lot in her country. She said it's a very common food. So that's the other thing I want you to tell us about this food, because a lot of students choose a special dish that's maybe just for a certain holiday or certain celebrations, or you know, some people have chosen to do something like pho, which if you're from Asia, an Asian country, you might know what pho is, or ramen or fried rice or some dish like that that people eat a lot, meaning they commonly eat it as an everyday food. So that was one thing I want you to share with the class. And then you're going to tell us about the nutrition. Now, she only told us that the paprika has vitamin A and that the meat has protein. But if I were grading her presentation, I would want her to talk about the nutrition in the potatoes and the pasta and, you know, any other ingredients in there besides just the meat having protein. You might have to look this up. If you don't know about the nutrition of carrots or the nutrition of tomatoes, and that's in your dish, you can look online really easily. And the easiest way to do that is to just go on Google and just write carrots nutrition. And then it'll tell you very quickly, if your computer is faster than mine. So this is the calories, this is how much protein and sugar, and there should be also in vitamins here somewhere. I don't know why they aren't listing any vitamins, because I know there's vitamin A in carrots. So it might depend on, here, vitamins. These are all the vitamins that are in carrots. Okay. Now, you don't have to list every single little detailed thing, because it could be too many details once you do all the foods, especially if you're making something that has 6 or 8 things in it and not just carrots. But you could say there's vitamins, which there's vitamin A and K, and B, so there's 3 vitamins, and then potassium is a mineral. So you could kind of group things together if you want to. That's something that we can kind of work on together, that I can help you with when you find the nutrition. Then you're going to make a kind of a conclusion about, based on all the nutrition you found, is this food healthy or not? Now, you do not have to share about a healthy food. I have a lot of students who share about a food that's very high calorie and very much fat, or very much sugar, but it's a special food that they only eat on a holiday once or twice a year. So, you know, it doesn't really matter if you eat an unhealthy food only once or twice a year. If it's an everyday food, hopefully it'll be more healthy, but you can tell us this is not a healthy food. And you can tell us why is it unhealthy, which is fine. And then the conclusion, she used the conclusion strategy, which we're going to look at on Thursday or Wednesday, so you don't have to worry about that today. But if you recall, when she finished her presentation, she was basically saying, I recommend this food and I hope you'll all try it, right?
Do we have to fill those paper or just like just give the presentation.
You do need to do the paper, and we're gonna do the planning first, and I already put it on here so I can show you a little bit how that's gonna work. I put up, while you guys were in your breakout rooms, I put up the assignment announcement for today on D2L. So this is my D2L announcement. And I put the planning sheet here. And here are the directions. You can either use this document and type it and put it in the assignment folder. That's one option. So when you open this, you can just, there's lines here, but you can just like do this and then, oh, that's supposed to say here. There's no such word spelled like that. And type your answers in here and then save it and put it in the assignment folder, which is under assessments here. Assignments. I have not put the folder, oh, I did put the folder there. I did do that. 1 second. So this is what I see. So out of the vocabulary practice, less than half the students turned it in so far. So we're also not going over that today. But under presentations, there's a, oh, I forgot one T. My typing was bad today. Under presentations, there's a folder here for it. And there. Except now it's a capital T. I just noticed and I already pushed save. You're going to upload your worksheet in there, and then I'll give you feedback on it before you actually do the presentation. So hopefully you can get it done this week sometime. It doesn't have to be by Wednesday, but by Friday or Saturday probably. On our schedule, we're doing the presentations next Wednesday. So if you finish the worksheet this week, then next week we're going to work on the PowerPoints and give the presentation on Wednesday. I might give you all next week to do the presentations, because if you do a recording and upload it, the problem is on D2L, there's a limit of how big the files can be for you to upload. So I have to figure out exactly how that's going to work, but I was thinking I could show you a couple of examples. From one of my old classes that students did to get kind of an idea. So here's an example. There's names on here. You aren't supposed to see that, but here's a girl from Honduras. She's not a student at Century anymore, so none of you probably know her. But this is how she did her slideshow. Can you see this? So she talked about this soup. You can see there's plantain and potatoes and carrots and meat in it and lime juice. She gave all the ingredients. Coconut milk is healthier than cow's milk. Here's her family enjoying the, it's a special Sunday dish, she said, that they use the most for family day. And so she went through all the ingredients and the nutrition. This is an example of a really good, well done presentation. And she said the way to remember the name of the soup is it sounds like Mom Don't Go. So she was telling all the class that that's the name of the soup, Mom Don't Go. So anyway, that's an example of one. Let's see, I was gonna see if I could find another one that's good here. can't remember what thing Anna did. Let's see. Well, that's the evaluation. Sorry, that's not her PowerPoint. Here, this is her. So she did this food. She's from Argentina, so it's meat with beans and rice and vegetables. This one is a pancake type meal and fried plantains. This student did, hers was not probably a very good example because it really is just a special kind of rice that's made with coconut milk and mango. So there isn't really that many ingredients. It's just the rice and mango. Even though she had good nutrition about it, there wasn't that much to talk about. This guy did a Vietnamese sandwich, and you can see there's meat and vegetables and bread. So that's lots of food groups. This guy did what's called a hot pot, which is a kind of soup. A lot of you know that one. This student is Korean. What did she do? It won't show me her slides for some reason. This one was a guy from Europe, and he did something called pierogi, which is a kind of pasta. They're little pockets of dough, and they stuff them with meat and vegetables on the inside. So this is how you make the dough, and then the filling has all these ingredients. So that's just some examples of what some other students have done. And so what I want you to do this week is think about what food you want to share about. Like I said, try and pick a food that has many ingredients, not just 2 or 3. If you don't know how to cook, you may not know about all the ingredients in something, but you can figure that out, or you can, whoever cooks for you can help you if you ask them questions. The guy I just showed you last who did the pierogi, he's in his 50s. He's an older guy. His kids are grown. And he told the whole class, I don't cook, I just eat. My wife cooks. And everybody kind of laughed, but it's true, especially in you know, younger people. If you're living on your own, you have to cook if you don't have a wife. But a lot of people, if the wife likes to do the cooking, they kind of gave him a hard time that he didn't help his wife. And he said, no, she doesn't want me in her kitchen. She wants to be in charge of all the cooking. So if you need help finding out about foods, you can look online, or you can, but usually like the Vietnamese sandwich, for example, that's a common street food in Vietnam. That's what he was talking about, that people eat them every day. They grab one along the way for a lunch or a supper. If you Google that item, it'll tell you what foods are in it, even if you've never made one. No matter how often you eat them, you might not know all the ingredients that are in it.
I have a question.
Yes, sure.
So, okay, for this week, we have to fill up this documentation and this question, what you showed us, and put this assignment. And for the next week, we have to like actual presentation in the PowerPoint.
Yes. So if you put your document in by like Friday or so,
Yeah.
I'll read through them and give you feedback, and you can see if there's anything you need to improve on.
Okay.
And then once your planning is done, then you're going to build your PowerPoint. Starting on Monday, we're going to talk about PowerPoints, and I'm going to give people some help. Some of you have done PowerPoints. Some of you who are in my fall class for speaking have already done it. Some of you maybe haven't.
Okay.
So I'll give people some help on Monday for PowerPoints. And then sometime probably between Wednesday and Friday, I'll have everybody upload their presentation. I have to figure out how that's going to work, because it's kind of tricky to put a big recording on. I think, well, the ones that my students have done on Google before. So just as an example, if you remember, you know, the first presentation you did, they're all here on our D2L page. And none of these, this is everybody's presentations, and none of these were too big to upload. So I think if you just do your presentation, I think you can put it in a assignment folder, and then I can load them on here. I want to watch them all together on Monday. So
You
I
said
want them,
presentation, you mean the PowerPoint, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
When you said presentation, you mean the PowerPoint, right?
No, you need to take a video of yourself presenting too.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
we have to do three things: fill up this documentation, make PowerPoint, and record the video.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Now, I don't know exactly how it's going to work with the PowerPoint. One idea that I have is if you plan your presentation and make a PowerPoint, you could sit next to your laptop or computer and have the PowerPoint showing next to you, and someone can record it on a phone camera. To me, that's probably the easiest way. You also can go into Zoom, and you can do it like I'm recording our class right now. And so I hope I'm still recording. Yeah, I'm still recording. I paused it during the breakout rooms, and I didn't remember if I started it again. I can record myself talking like this. So you could do your presentation like this. The problem is then how do you see the PowerPoint? So I have to figure a little bit of this out. I'm gonna have to find out from some other teachers if they have some ideas, but we'll worry about that next week. But yeah, you'll have to actually do the presentation, and unless you want to do it like this where you're just talking to your computer and doing it live, I think doing a recording is a little bit less stressful. Celia?
Oh, can I use just record, not video? Record in PowerPoint, not video, or I need the video?
Well, part of the grade is based on what you're doing. So I need to see you. I think it needs to be a video, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have some option that we cannot, so can we do the don't record video? Because I don't like when I'm recording, like, this is kind of weird thing and weird. So if there is any option to don't do this video record or something like that, can we work out for this?
Well, that would be another way to do it. I could let the people that want to record themselves do it that way, and the people that want to do it live could do it on Zoom. So like if Celia, I'm going to put you on, okay? I can choose Celia to go on the screen, and she could do her presentation like this, and you could all see her. And that would be one way to do the presentations, and then you wouldn't have to worry about doing a recording.
Yeah,
But for some people, it's more stressful to do it live, and you'd rather do a recording. So I could let you choose. Who is saying something? Is that you, Boris?
Yeah, I think this one is better.
On Zoom?
Yes.
Like a live.
Yeah, because it's hard to record and to download and to pull up. That's, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do them live.
Yeah.
We can do them live. I can let you choose. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that some of you, if I said, do you want to record it instead, would probably say yes. Just because if you get messed up or make a mistake, you can try again. Whereas if we're doing it on Zoom, you can't keep trying again. But Adam's voting yes. Does that mean yes for Zoom or yes for live? Or Zoom is live. Yes for Zoom or yes for recording? Adam, do you know how to unmute yourself? He put it in the chat. I gotta get my chat box open. He says both. We should get to choose, I think that means. So anyway, we'll deal with that later. But this week, what you need to focus on is choosing your food and then working on filling out your worksheet.
Okay.
And that's actually the homework for the whole week. So Wednesday, we're going to spend a little bit more time finishing chapter 5 because we didn't get to talk about the presentation skill yet. The last thing we're going to talk about is the conclusions, which is on page 64. So we'll talk about that Wednesday, and then we'll start a little bit of chapter 7. But your homework stuff for this week and next week is going to be around the presentation. So as I said, I already put it on D2L. It's on the announcement for today. The worksheet is there. I will put up the discussion link. It's called a thread, the discussion thread. If you know what food you want to do, go in there right away when we leave class and type in the name of your food. If it's a special food from your country, you could include what country it's from. It doesn't have to be from your country. It can be from any country. I did an example presentation for one class, and I did a food from Zambia. My daughter lived in Zambia for 6 months, and I was able to go visit her. And so I did a slideshow about a food that we ate there that was a Zambian food. So it doesn't have to be from your country. It can be any food you like. But again, pick a food that has multiple ingredients. So at least 5 or 6 or 8 ingredients, and not just something with 2 or 3 ingredients, because it's just not enough to describe the food or the nutrition if there's only 2 things. Like the one I explained that was just rice and mango. She did a pretty good job explaining it, but it didn't take very long because she was just talking about, there isn't really that much nutrition in the rice. So it's really just the vitamins in the mango, and that's all she had to talk about. So you're better off picking something with a bunch of, with several ingredients. So any questions? Okay, then we're done for the day. I'm going to give you a minute. If you feel confident and you don't have any, if you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and leave. But I'm going to stay here for a few minutes if anybody still has questions. James, I see you.
Yes, I have a question about worksheet. Where do you put worksheet for presentation?
The worksheet goes in the assignment folder.
Assignment?
So under assessments, I'll show you.
Okay.
Under assessments, there's assignments, and I put a folder in there. So when you're done, you can either write it and take a picture and send me the picture in here, or you can type on it and send me the document in here. But it's called Food Presentation Planning Worksheet.
Okay, thank you.
So you can upload it in there, and it should be there by Friday. So this week, work on that. Obviously, you need to first pick out what food you're doing, and then pick out, work on the worksheet. And the worksheet is on the announcement. Did you all see that? So this is today's announcement, and it explains you can put it in the assignment folder, or you can write it and send me a photo. If you don't want to print the planning sheet, you don't even have to print it. You can just look at it while you're working and just make sure you use all the topics. So we went through all the topics here. Just make sure that you answer all the questions. So put a number 1 on your notebook paper and put down what the food is. Put down number 2 and describe the food. So you can write it on just regular notebook paper. You don't even need this worksheet. But the worksheet will tell you what all the topics are that you need to have. And then you can, and then this says make sure you have all the sections. Then you can just, I said send me a photo, but I don't mean send it to me. I still mean upload the photo in the assignment folder. Any other questions? Okay, a few people have already left, so hopefully it's clear. I will see you all on Wednesday, and I'll look forward to seeing your food topics on the discussion page. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
I still have my microphone on if anyone else still wants to talk to me.
I have a question. Do you put all the grades in detail?
No, I have not put all the grades in.
Yeah.
I put some in this weekend, but I'm trying to catch up on that.
Yeah. Even my second test, I got tested with Peter, and
Yeah, he sent that to me. I haven't graded it yet. I have to find the answers
all right,
to
all right,
grade it.
all right, and
Um,
all the work, the writing worksheet.
Yep, I'm working on those too.
All right, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.